Welcome to the Perrysburg Podcast, episode 117. I'm your host, Perrysburg resident Kim Newlove. The Perrysburg Podcast is a resource for Perrysburg residents. We talk about what's in Perrysburg and why people like to live here. Our website is perrysburgpodcast.com. Election Day is coming up quickly. It is on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Today's episode includes short interviews with all four of Perrysburg's city council candidates. They are Erin O'Rear, Justin Edgell, Brad Geiner, and Kevin Fuller. I will ask them all what brought them to Perrysburg, why they like living here, why they're running for Perrysburg City Council, what's in it for them to be on council, and what they hope people will say about them in 12 months after they've been elected. And in Kevin's case, I threw in a bonus question since he's already been on council. In fact, he's the current city council president. I asked him for advice for future city council candidates. Each candidate had 15 minutes to answer my questions. With editing out some sidebar conversations and some pauses here and there, some of the interviews are longer than others. And in two of the interviews, you'll actually hear my timer beep because they went right down to the wire. Now, as we get started, I'd like to put some gratitude out there. I would like to thank council candidate Erin O'Rear for reaching out via the guest application form for the podcast about putting this episode together. Without that first little nudge, I would not have even thought to do this episode. In all honesty, politics are outside my comfort zone. It's not something I'm passionate about, and I typically avoid talking about politics publicly. As this is a resource for Perrysburg residents, future and current, I think this episode qualifies as a resource, so I went ahead with it. I also want to thank the other candidates for their part in making this episode happen. Justin Edgell reached out through the website to show some interest in putting this episode together too, and we had a phone conversation, and it was really after that conversation that I thought, okay, as long as I can get all four candidates to agree to interviews, I'm going to do this thing. So that brings me to the other candidates. Thank you very much to Brad Geiner and Kevin Fuller for agreeing to the interviews. Without you all four participating, this episode would not have happened. Everyone was very enthusiastic about helping me put this together. Thank you all so much. Now let's get to the interviews. Up first is Erin O'Rear. Without her, this podcast episode would not have happened. So here we go. This is Erin O'Rear. She is a journalist by training, but she is currently a stay-at-home mom. After her interview, we'll transition to Justin, then Brad, and finally Kevin. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Erin O'Rear. Hi, Erin. Welcome to the Perrysburg Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I am Erin O'Rear, and I'm running for Perrysburg City Council.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about your family and what brought you to Perrysburg?
Yeah, I have three daughters. They're 8, 6, and 3. My husband, Brandon, he's originally from Georgia. I grew up in Point Place in Toledo. We lived there till I was 12, and then we moved to Monroe, where my mom's, she was one of 7, and so they all lived there. And so we moved up there to be closer to them. And then I moved back to Point Place when I started working at WTOL because it was convenient. I met my husband at Bar Louie in Levis Commons on New Year's Eve, 2013. And, the rest is history. But he lived in Preston Gardens. And obviously growing up in Toledo, I had always heard about Perrysburg and what a nice town it is. And spending time here, obviously, this was a place where we wanted to stay and we wanted to, start our family. So once we got engaged, we started looking for houses. And our house was the only house that we even looked at right away. We were like, this is it. This is where we're going to be. And it has just been such a great decision. We love our neighborhood. It's truly like the village, that they talk about. The neighbor kids are always just like all running back and forth together. And, hey, I need to run to the grocery store. Can you watch them for a minute? Sure. Just stuff like that all the time. It's just been really wonderful.
Glad to hear it. And how long have you lived in Perrysburg then?
It'll be 10 years in December since we bought our house. Yeah. Which is crazy to think about because it just flies right by.
That's right. And you're right about it does take a village to raise a family, or raise kids anyways. I'm right with you on that.
Uh-huh.
Well, thanks for talking about what brought you to Perrysburg.
Mhm.
Why do you like living here?
Well, I mean, obviously, like I said, we love our neighborhood. And I just feel like the town is kind of an extension of that. Just people who, are just so kind and generous. And our local businesses are, wonderful. I feel like I can just, go into kids' clothesline and it's, a whole experience and, go to I don't know, like swig and have a beer and, talk to the bartender. And, it's just like a very lovely, it's like an idyllic little bubble, I guess, and just a really great place to raise a family. And I mean, I guess ultimately, why did we come here? Pretty much like most families, I would say, for the schools. That's my husband and I both went to private schools, but we had decided that we wanted to send our kids to public schools, and Perrysburg obviously was what we decided was the best option for us. And we have been so happy so far with that decision.
I have also called Perrysburg a little bit of a bubble,
Yes.
Perrysburg schools,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like its own ecosystem.
Yes.
You grow up through the preschool, the elementary, the junior high, the high school. And then when you pop the bubble and you send your kiddo off into the world for college, like I did back in 2023, you're kind of holding your breath a little bit.
Uh-huh.
You're outside the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking a little bit about why you like living here. I heard the bubble, of course, and then community. There's places to go, things to do, people to meet. And can you tell me a little bit about why you're running for Perrysburg City Council?
So this is always such an overwhelming question for me because I think like, how much time do you have? And obviously we don't have all day. And the League of Women Voters Forum, I had 90 seconds. And I think for anybody doing something like this, there's not just one singular thing that makes you take this on. I mean, it's obviously a huge commitment. I personally, last fall, after I think the school levy's failure, I was really depressed. I mean, first, because I just kept thinking, why didn't I do more? Why didn't I get more involved with the campaign and stuff? And then also, just feeling like this institution that, I think a lot of people have valid reasons for voting no, obviously, but I think just like in general, there's like an apathy and like a hyper individualism that just kind of like bums me out sometimes. And so I feel like that weighed really heavily on me. And I just thought like, I got to do something. I need to not cry about this. I need to get up and do something. And so I kind of got involved with a few other moms, and we went to a council meeting and it was packed, and we sat on the floor like a troop of Girl Scouts. And I looked up and, Carrie Wellstein was the only woman on council. And I thought, like, that's crazy. And so after that, I was like, I got to get more involved. And I applied to be on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and Mayor Mackin appointed me to that board. And I started, just learning about our zoning code and just different things in the city. And somebody said to me, you should run for council. And I thought, no, that's not something that I ever want to do. I've always been fine with being behind the scenes. I've never wanted to put myself out there like that. And the more I thought, and aside from that, I mean, it's a big financial commitment. I mean, my family is a single income family. And I think there's, people don't really, why would you know about campaign finance and how this works? But like I'm really bad at accepting gifts and compliments. And so, asking people for donations is not something that I'm great at. I mean, I've had a lot of very, very generous friends and family who have supported me, and I appreciate them so much. But it is mostly like you funding it yourself. And so that was scary, but my husband's been so supportive of it. And so, yeah, I got involved in that. I mean, just getting lost in motherhood, like you think, maybe someday I'll go and, get a job or something. But I mean, politics is something that like I have been interested in, but I mean, especially local politics, working in, at WTOL, that was something that I have kind of a little bit of background in that maybe a lot of people don't have. And so just decided, let's do it. So right away, I just kind of tried to reach out to everybody who was on council, and then, people like Becky Williams, who has been on council and has been on everything and knows everybody. I kind of latched onto her right away at a council meeting and, have gotten just amazing advice and help from her. Tim McCarthy was the first council member to really sit down with me and just, what kind of questions do you have? What do you need? And, you know, um, Carrie Wellstein, again, talk about a girl's girl. She just is another person who has just been fully helpful and has helped me, get a hold of people who can also help me with things. And I've just had this very supportive and wonderful experience. I mean, just all the people who work for the city who have been willing to sit down and talk with me. I mean, you say getting into politics, but these are people who, I mean, they are not trying to go to Columbus. They're not trying to go to Washington. They just really care about our community and just want to make things better. And that's also what I want to do. And so it feels really good to be part of that.
Thanks for talking about that. I appreciate you explaining why you're running for Perrysburg City Council. I feel like you were inspired and you're a generous person, generous with your time, and you're not afraid to do hard things. I can tell that. Stay-at-home moms have a big job, and I've been on that bench before where I know how to do something. I'm a pharmacist by training. You are a journalist by training, and we're sitting on the bench basically. We're, not partaking of our career that we have a background in. We are raising children, and it's a very important job. But you're not afraid to do hard things and get off the bench and get back in the game in a different way.
Mhm.
So I appreciate the fact that you're kind of changing from journalism to politics.
Mhm.
And it sounds like it's an educated decision because you talked to so many people, previous council members. I feel like you have community in mind, and I feel like you want to do things for the community. That's what I kind of heard you saying. So I
Mhm.
just want to reflect that back to you because I think you did a good job of communicating that. So good luck to you. And I've got to ask, every time somebody does something like this, they put themselves out there.
Mhm.
I wonder what's in it for them. So what's in it for you, Erin?
I mean, I guess for me, like I said, I want to make things better. And I guess, like you said, being a mom, especially when you have small children, you kind of think, well, I'll let somebody else do it for now. And I guess I got to that point where I was like, I can't have that attitude anymore. I need to be the one to do it if I want somebody to do it.
Yeah. I heard somebody once say that we don't change things until we're uncomfortable with how things are. And I
Mhm.
feel like you're speaking as a person who's uncomfortable with the status quo and you would like to get in there and get your hands dirty and go ahead and work with all the people that are on council.
Yeah, definitely expand representation and just another, I think, when our leadership reflects the makeup of, our population, then we're making better choices for everybody.
I like that you said that because, like you said, there's only one woman on council, and there's probably a lot of voters that will go to this League of Women Voters insert from the Perrysburg Messenger Journal newspaper and see you and think, that's me. That's me. She represents me.
Yeah, I hope so because I feel like I do. I do. I'm the PTO mom. I'm the woman at, pick up and drop off. I'm, not always looking my best, but that's okay.
When you're in your car, that's okay. You're not
Uh-huh.
nobody should be looking at you.
Looking crazy and, tired, but that aren't we all?
Yes. Well, I appreciate that you want to get in there and get busy helping the city. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Let's imagine you get elected. You're on Perrysburg City Council. What do you want people to say about you 12 months from now?
12 months from now, I want people to say that I'm a hard worker and I want people to know that I truly care about this community and the people in it, even though maybe I don't agree, maybe they don't all agree with me or, the decisions that I make. Just know that I'm doing it with good intentions and with my heart in it. And I think, there's people like I think, you see a Mark Weber sign on every street. And I think he's so popular because he also is that type of person. He's lived here his whole life. His family lives here. And he really just wants like his family to have the same great experience he's had. And I feel that I am the same way. I just want all of the people I care about to have the same great experience that I'm having.
I like that. You're paying it forward.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but on council.
Yeah.
Good for you. Mark Weber is a good role model
Yeah, definitely.
for politics in this city. Yep. So I understand that he was on council for many years. You have a 4-year term if you
Mhm.
would, get on council, correct?
Yes.
All right. If that goes well, would you continue on and run again?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes with my family and everything. It's a big step, especially just being at home and not having a job outside the home. It's been interesting. A lot of adjustments. My husband's been amazing and so supportive. And even last week, I told him, oh my gosh, you must hate me right now. And he tells me, no, 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 you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. But yes, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Great answer. Erin, as we start to wrap this up, I'd like to open it up for anything else you'd like to say to Perrysburg residents, future and current.
I'm just really grateful for the conversations that I've had so far. I really have had a great time talking to people. My 3-year-old's gotten a lot of treats and she's actually had a pretty good time. And so it's honestly been a good experience. And I hope people keep reaching out and, feel comfortable talking to me. And yeah, let's do this.
All right. And where can people learn more about you and your campaign?
You can go to erinorear.com or I am on Facebook and Instagram. And I have an email too. It's erinkorear@gmail.com.
Thank you very much, Erin, for being here on the Perrysburg podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again for the interview, Erin. And now here's my conversation with Justin Edgell. Hi, Justin. Welcome to the Perrysburg podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Would you care to introduce yourself, sir?
Justin Edgell. I'm a resident here, Perrysburg, running for city council. My wife and I have been here for nearly a decade. We actually got married at St. Rose 12 years ago and lived in the township for a year before going to Columbus. And then after 3 years in the Columbus area, we circled the Boundary Street neighborhoods and told our realtor that's where we want to live, find a house. And we were able to do that. So we've been in that house for 8 years now and raising our family. I have a son that is 9 and my daughter's 4. And currently I sell sporting goods equipment with a company called BSN Sports. But my background is mostly education. I was a private school administrator, a nonprofit administrator in Columbus and Toledo. And before that, I was a classroom teacher as a 8th and ninth grade math and science teacher at Gibsonburg schools.
Very good. I grew up in the Eastwood Schools district, and Gibsonburg was definitely in our league at the time.
Yep.
I remember y'all.
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Now, you already kind of said what brought you to Perrysburg. You
Mhm.
wanted to raise your family here. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
We were introduced to Perrysburg through St. Rose as a couple, my wife and I. We didn't have a church. We weren't parishioners anywhere. We weren't necessarily tied to the church that her family went to in Temperance. And so I made a spreadsheet of every church in Toledo, and we probably went to nearly 20 of them and said, this one feels like home. And obviously, St. Rose is very beautiful. So it was a great setting for the wedding. But then that just kind of introduced the city to us. And at the time, our budget allowed us to get an apartment in township, and it was close to Gibsonburg, as close as I guess we could be. And then, like I said, after living in Columbus, we wanted to come back and be here. And part of that was because the way that I grew up in a small community in Springfield Township, like everybody was just next to each other and we could walk to the park and I had the pond behind me and all my youth sports were right there. And so I wanted something like that for my own kids. And obviously Perrysburg schools, being a teacher, I knew how great the schools were. So it was easy for us to say, this is our neighborhood that we want to live in. We can walk everywhere, all the shops. And so, yeah, we were able to find that house and that's where we've been, making it our home.
Thanks for sharing that. You said yes to Perrysburg.
Yes, we did.
Very good. Sounds like twice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, why do you like living here, you and your family?
We love living here, honestly. Again, it's the walkability, it's the amenities, it's going to the 577 Foundation and everything they have to offer for our kids. It's the ability to go to Woodland Park or even walk to Toth Elementary, where my son goes to school. And my kids refer that as Desmond's Park, and Woodland is Rose's Park because she goes to CDC, so she sees Woodland Park all the time. And we can just ride our bikes there, and it can be after dinner at 7:45, and We're comfortable enough to just kind of walk through the neighborhood and it's peaceful. And a lot of that's because of the people that live here. We have friends and family. I mean, since we've moved here, we've had several members of our family that have since moved to Perrysburg. And so it's just like being able to put in roots and make this home. It's just meant a lot to us. And then, I mean, being on the river and being close to all the shops and also being close to the expressway. So if family want to visit, it's 20 minutes. It's an easy drive. So it's a great location and it makes sense for our family. And we've just really loved being here.
I can tell you're a family man. Now, is there anything you as an individual really enjoy about Perrysburg outside of what you enjoy as a family?
I'm a big sports guy. I was an athletic director at St. Francis. Obviously, teaching is my background, but sports have been a passion of mine since I was a kid. And so for me, I love getting involved in athletics and everything that the community offers on that front. So my son just completed his first full cross-country season with St. Rose, and I was able to coach the team. My daughter participates in T-ball with PABSC, and I'm a commissioner with them. Like, even if we have to go play a game at Rivercrest here near you, like, it's across town. It takes 5 minutes to get there. And so everything's so close, and there's so many people involved. We've done PYSA soccer, and we've tried basketball. It's not quite our thing, which makes sense. I was a wrestler in high school and college, so I love sports. And our high school teams are so good as well. I mean, being a wrestler and being part of the wrestling program, last year my son competed at the youth level, and that program is just so, I mean, nationally recognized with the individuals that they've had there and the coach that we have, and sports in general have just been great to participate in here in Perrysburg.
Sounds like you've been able to apply your lifelong love of sports to Perrysburg.
Correct. Yeah. To my personal life, to my professional life. Yeah. It's been tied all together. Yep.
Good for you. It sounds like you love living here.
We do. Yeah. We really do love our life here.
Well, I can tell that you love living here. And then you decided one day to wake up and run for Perrysburg City Council, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the story? What made you want to run for council?
When I graduated college and was interviewing for teaching positions, they would always ask the question, what do you want to do in 20, 30 years? That 30-year plan always included getting into politics somehow. I just have always had a desire to help others and help my community. I grew up with very little. For most of my childhood, it was my mom, myself, and my two younger brothers. And so we just worked as a community to kind of help each other. Like, I asked my mom recently, how did you feel so comfortable letting us just kind of roam the neighborhood from 9 to 5, and you'd whistle at 5 o'clock and we'd come home for dinner? And she's like, there are more people watching you than you know. And so that resource as a community is just something that I want to be that to everyone, to the 20,000 plus people in Perrysburg. I want to be a resource to them. I want to be able for someone to pick up my phone like I did with Mark Weber this morning and say, I have this question. I don't know who to contact. If I can be that for people in the community that find it difficult to navigate the website or just don't even know where to start, that's my goal, is to help others. So specifically city council, I've been kind of getting more involved over the last few years, advocating for human rights, and just I worked the polls last November, and kind of learned the process there. And then after that last election, someone introduced me as a potential candidate, and I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. And I got home and told my wife, and she was like, yeah, duh, you're running. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. Let's go. And so, had to spend 4 weeks to collect signatures. And then since February 1st or somewhere around there, it's just been full go. It's been campaign season for, by the end of this, almost 11 full months. Yeah.
When you looked at the job description for city council, did it really call to you?
Not specifically looking at the job description, but speaking to current council members. Corey Kuhlman, that's on council, he and I graduated college together. We're both education majors. And so talking to him about what the job entails, and then getting to know our city administrator, Joe Fawcett, and our lawyer, Tim Effler, and then talking to all the different heads of every department in the city, and then having multiple conversations with the mayor and city council members. It's just a great team. We really have hired and elected excellent individuals to represent Perrysburg. And I just got to the point of like, why would I not want to be a part of this team? Like, they really are doing everything in their power to make Perrysburg the best it can be. I want to help that. I want to be part of that cause. So once I started to learn more and have those conversations, it justified my decision of running for council and getting involved. Yeah.
Okay. I hear a lot of Justin in that. It wasn't just a matching game like, oh, I see the job description. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
There was just a lot of you. You naturally like to help people and be
Correct.
a resource,
Yep.
and you can work well. Here's the sports analogy. You can be on the team
Yeah.
with everybody that's already playing the game.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I've got to ask a selfish question.
Okay.
What's in it for you?
What's in it for me? Well, it's not money. The salary it's a part-time job. I mean, for me, I want to be involved. I'm on the baseball softball commission. I'm getting involved there. I help coach cross country, getting involved there. We intentionally send our kids to summer rec camp so that they're involved in the community. It's just, we like to be members, active members of our community. So what's in it for me? I get to amplify those responsibilities, to be honest with you. Like, I've been asked, do you want to go to Columbus? Is that your ultimate goal, to be a state rep? Yeah, maybe, but right now that is not my focus. My goal is to get elected, to serve Perrysburg for 4 years, run a second term and do another 4 years, and then see what life has in store for me at that time.
Good for you, planning to reevaluate what's going on around you at a later time.
Yep.
Good for you. Well, I know we've covered a lot already, but I'm going to ask you to get out your crystal ball. It is almost Halloween after all.
Yeah, right.
And tell me 12 months from now, what do you want people to say about you?
I want people to say that I'm genuine, who they thought I am. That's truly who I am, that I am a resourceful, easy to communicate with. I feel like those are traits that have been told to me in any position I've ever held, and I want that to be true. I am not one that kicks open a door and walks in a room and says, look at me, I have the answers. That's not how I lead. I had a parent at St. Francis who in year 3 was like, Justin, I didn't know that this is who you are. You're very vocal and you have ideas. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, your first year you were so quiet. And I was like, well, it wasn't that I was unsure of myself. I was listening and I was making observations and I had ideas, but I wanted to make sure that I presented them respectfully within that community and want to make sure that they fit. So I intend to take the same approach to council of taking input from our citizens, from our city administrators and the different employees that we have, seeing what they believe needs to be implemented to make a positive impact in the community, pairing that with my own observations and opinions, and then making the best decision moving forward. So I hope that people see that that's how I present myself every day.
You want people to say what we saw was what we got.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we start to wrap this up, we've got about 2 more minutes here. Open mic time. What else would you like the people of Perrysburg to know about Justin Edgell?
First off, I am incredibly thankful for opportunities like this to speak on your platform, but the support that I've gotten, I mean, I almost started tearing up in front of all my volunteers and family and friends for the parade. The amount of people that showed up to wear a t-shirt and pass out candy was overwhelming. I mean, my campaign has had over 50 individuals that have made donations. To actually give me $1 and say that you support me is just, I can feel it right now. I'm getting a little emotional and overwhelmed by that. I just so appreciative of everything that has happened over the last few months, including the flexibility that, even my employer has presented me, or the support that my wife has given me, knowing that I can't do bedtime on my scheduled bedtimes tonight, or, I may miss a thing here or there. I really have appreciated the yard signs and everybody else that's reached out, even those friends and family that are not in Perrysburg and can't vote. They're still liking and sharing my Facebook posts and things like that. I just am really thankful for everything. And whether I'm in the top 3 or I'm number 4 on November 4th, I'm going to take everything that I've experienced and formulate a plan and move forward. If I'm not lucky enough to finish in the top 3, there's a plan. I'm going to stay involved. I'm going to pursue other avenues to help represent the community and present Perrysburg the best that I can to Northwest Ohio and further abroad. So, yeah. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, well, it's been my pleasure to ask you these questions today. Where can my audience find out more about you and your campaign?
Yes, so information is available online, Justin Edgell, EDGELL.com. And then I have a Facebook page, Justin Edgell for Perrysburg City Council. That's probably most active. I use my personal accounts on X, Twitter, and Instagram, Justin Edgell. I mean, I have my LinkedIn page that has all my professional background. I encourage people to go there to see all these things that I've been doing my entire life. It's not things I just signed up for to prepare for a campaign, like being a golf partner for Wood County Special Olympics. I've been doing that for 3 years. So yeah, there's a lot of places that people can go find the information. I'm on almost every social media platform you can find.
I'll put your links in the show notes for this episode
All
on
right. Thank you.
perrysburgpodcast.com. Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Thanks again, Justin.
Thank you.
Thanks again for the interview, Justin. And thanks again for reaching out through the website and for your encouragement to do this episode. Now, here's my conversation with Brad Geiner. Hi, Brad. Welcome to the Perrysburg podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I have been interviewing the other candidates, and we've all started off with a little introduction. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Brad Geiner, and I'm running for Perrysburg City Council. I am a union sheet metal worker. I've been doing it for over 20 years now. I hold a supervisory role, and I run multi-million-dollar jobs. We plan this out, and we just make sure it runs efficiently, and it's given me an opportunity to see what good, positive growth can do for a city.
Can you tell me what brought you and your family to Perrysburg?
I'll give you a little background about myself. I was born and raised in South Toledo. I attended Toledo Public Schools. I started a family of my own as my children got to the age where they were going to attend schools. I really wasn't happy with what Toledo Public Schools had to offer. So I began to look around at surrounding areas to see who had what to offer for me. I was drawn to Perrysburg for two main reasons: their great school systems and their safe neighborhoods and streets. In all, I just wanted to give my family the very best of everything, and I felt Perrysburg could do just that. Since moving here, my family has more than doubled. My wife of 8 years, and I have a total of 6 kids, 2 of my own and 4 stepchildren. So big family.
That is a big family. Thank you for talking about what brought you and your family to Perrysburg. And now that you're here, what do you like about living in Perrysburg?
I could probably go on forever with this. I mean, there's so many things. Like I mentioned before, first and foremost, our school systems. I think they're great. They offer so many after school programs for the kids. The education is top notch. We're at a pivotal point here where we need something to pass in order to continue to keep Perrysburg schools going in a positive direction. I think we're going to achieve that. So then we can move on to the next step. Going on, we have phenomenal parks here in Perrysburg with options ranging from pickleball courts. We have new sand volleyball courts, artwork, walking and bike paths. Really, our parks, they have it all. Can't leave out the beautiful downtown area with the unique shops and restaurants. The wife and I, we go down quite often to shop and go out to eat. Safe neighborhoods and streets. As a father, feeling comfortable with having my children simply riding their bike to their friend's house or hanging out at the park or going to Mr. Freeze for ice cream. It's just a really good feeling to have them, to know that they're able to do that and be safe. But I think most of all, where it comes down to, it's the people of Perrysburg. Whether I'm walking through the park or in the downtown area, people are just happy here. They smile. I have had some amazing experiences here in Perrysburg where just random people have waved to me, said hello, and we've had some really good conversations. I mean, Perrysburg truly is a great city to live in.
Absolutely. When we were talking off mic before I pressed record, you were telling me how much you love your street and your neighbors.
My neighbors are phenomenal. It's like a large family on the street. Everybody kind of watches out for each other. We help each other out. We have some retirees on the street that are by themselves. We help with grass cutting, snow removal, and we don't do it for profit. We're doing it to help each other out. You know, it's a really caring environment. We have good people. We have really good people here in Perrysburg.
Yes, I love my street as well. It's been fun to get to know everybody. And the girl across the street, I remember when she was born and now she's driving. So
Amazing.
it's kind of fun to watch people grow up. Now that you've been here for 8 years, you're probably seeing that yourself.
Oh, yes. And I have one of my sons, he's going for his temps today.
I understand that you enjoy living here and I appreciate that. So, why would you want to run for council? It is a challenge, and I'd love to hear what made you accept that challenge.
It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of stress, a lot of added things to do.
Yep, you're a busy guy already.
I think what motivated me to run for city council would be that I have children at the age where they're looking to buy their first home. My oldest is 27, my youngest is 12. So vast range of children. I have one that's looking to buy his first home. And I would love to see him stay in Perrysburg, but housing costs are high and our taxes are even higher. Now, the city council has done a great job so far. If they hadn't, I wouldn't have moved here. I mean, Perrysburg is a great place, but I think that Perrysburg is at a pivotal point where we need to make the right moves to keep the city moving in a positive direction. The city has focused heavily on residential and multifamily units. I believe that we need to concentrate more on smart commercial growth, attracting businesses that could bring in much needed tax revenue for the city. Professionally, I work in the trades as a union sheet metal worker for over 20 years. And I hold a supervisor position where I have the privilege of running multi-million-dollar jobs. Now, through the years, I have gained experience, knowledge, resource, and contacts that I plan to bring with me to city council. I have seen firsthand what smart commercial growth can do for a city, and I want to share that knowledge and experience with Perrysburg to help them grow.
You're coming from a place of service, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
It's not something that you wake up one day and want to do. So, can you remember when the day came that you wanted to run for council? Was it a growing desire for years, or did it just happen in the last 12 months?
No, it's been growing probably for the past 3 years. Getting to the point where I'm getting close to the end of my career. I've always been very, very heavy into politics. I just think that's running for city council, I can reach and help more people. And I think I can reach and help a larger volume of individuals to keep this city running in a good direction, because it's getting very busy here. Schools are getting overrun. We have large class capacities.
Things have changed even in the last 8 years that you've been here, haven't they?
Quite a bit.
Now, something that I always wonder when I see somebody running for public office is what's in it for them? So what's in it for you, Brad?
I think simply put, it would be to continue to have a Perrysburg that everybody wants. A place to raise your kids, great school systems, safe neighborhoods, awesome parks. I guess on a personal note, it's just to know that I was part of something that made a real difference here in Perrysburg. Something that I can sit back one day and say, I did that.
Yeah, you would find personal satisfaction in making a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good for you. I like that. Let's imagine that you got on council and a whole year goes by. What do you want people to say about you after 12 months on council?
I hope they would say that I'm a man of my word and that I followed through with what I was trying to do. Now, I know it's only 12 months, and 12 months on city council, that's a very short amount of time to try and make a difference. But that I think they would say that I followed through with what I said I was going to do to making Perrysburg a better place to live. That they are beginning to see positive growth and improvements here in the city with a clearer outline of a better and brighter future for Perrysburg. But I think most of all, and what I think is most important to me, is that they say that I'm truly dedicated to the success of Perrysburg and its future, and making sure that every citizen has a voice at city council and that their concerns are heard and addressed.
You want to say something and you want to hold yourself accountable for it. And 12 months from now, you want people to say that you did the things you said you were going to do.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that you are running for council and I wish you the best of luck. And if there's nothing else you want to add to the 12-month question here, like what do you hope people will say about you in 12 months from now? I want to open up the floor for you to say anything to the residents of Perrysburg, future and present, that you would like to.
Well, if they want more information about my campaign, they can go to my Facebook page, Brad Geiner for Perrysburg City Council, and they can get a little bit more information about my direction, what I'm trying to do to change for Perrysburg in our positive direction. You would be able to message me on there, and you could call me. We could sit down, have a talk, drink some coffee, and discuss your concerns, and just see if we can't make a difference and make it comfortable for you here in Perrysburg.
I love the invitation to engage. I think that's very personable of you.
I've had quite a few people call me and ask to get together to discuss concerns that they have, and they just wanted to know what direction I could go in to hopefully fix the problem or make things just a little better. So I've had quite a few actually. And going door to door, I've had individuals invite me to sit down or to come back, and they said they would gather their neighbors up. So then I'm coming back and I have a room full of 6 or 7 people, and we get to spread the word just a little bit more.
I think that's great when council candidates go door to door. That's a great opportunity for us to meet you.
And I think that's probably the most important part of it. It's not the signs in the front yard. It's the fact that we're taking the time to reach out and hear from each individual person. For that, I wish I had more time so that I could go door to door and talk to more people. It's very enlightening. I've learned so much about Perrysburg, the history. People share history, their personal experiences, and their concerns. Some people have really come up with really good ideas that I want to bring forward to City Council to try and make some changes.
I am so glad that you've gotten something out of those interactions because, sometimes people don't answer the door if they don't recognize who comes up to it. So it sounds like people are answering the doors for you. And that makes me happy because, yeah, I think it can be really hard to get your personality and your voice out there when you've just got a sign or you've got 90 seconds at the League of Women Voters forum.
Yes.
Now, it was a great forum, but I am so glad that you came here today to talk to my audience about who you are and why you're running for council and opportunities to engage.
This is great. Thank you so much for having me. I actually have a meeting right after this with a citizen of Perrysburg. We're going to get together for a talk.
Awesome. Good luck to you on the rest of your campaign, and we'll be voting on November 4th. Any last words before we wrap this up?
Please look into my campaign, see what I'm about, and support me and vote for me on November 4th.
Thank you very much for being here on the Perrysburg podcast, Brad. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for the interview, Brad. Now, here's my conversation with Kevin Fuller. Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the Perrysburg podcast.
Hi, Kim. Thank you for having me. Greatly appreciate being here.
My pleasure. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Kevin Fuller. I currently serve as president of City Council. I was elected to council 4 years ago, so I'm running for my second term and really kind of hoping to kind of retain that seat. I enjoy serving the city, and it's quite fun. It does take a lot of work. I do have a day job, a full-time carpenter, union carpenter. I work for the union. I'm a business representative. I got in the union back in 2007 as a carpenter apprentice, and I went through the apprenticeship program, which was a 4-year program. I just love building things, and that kind of took me eventually into construction management, where I was running work crews. I built bridges, I built buildings, and I did quite a bit of finish work in my career. So really kind of broad on the spectrum when it comes to carpentry. So I'm also a father. We have my wife, Christy, and we have 5 children, 4 older and out of the house. And then we have a 5-year-old who just started kindergarten this year. So really excited to kind of keep plugging along with that. Before I started any endeavor, I go to my wife first and my family. They're super important to me. And I'm very, very grateful and thankful to have my family support in doing this as well.
Thank you for introducing yourself. You sound like such a handy guy. I bet your wife loves it when you fix things for her.
Well, her and I both love to read. I've made many bookcases at home. We just repurposed another one, and she's already telling me I have to build another one. So I think I'm on 6 bookcases now. So we're just going to keep loading up the bookshelves with and I'll have to keep building them, I guess. So, but it's fun.
I love books. I'm a book nerd, so I'm happy to hear this. This is great. All right. Well, thank you for telling me a little bit about yourself. And can you tell me what brought you to Perrysburg?
Well, it was back in 2013. I was living in Toledo, and I was a single dad at the time. And my son was living with me. And if I remember right, I'm going to do the math, but I want to say off the top of my head, I think he was 11 years old at the time. And we lived in the neighborhood that we lived in wasn't, I want to say, the best. And he was having problems sometimes down at the park with people that were older than him. And it just wasn't really a comfortable environment for him and a place that he could kind of enjoy. So I started kind of looking around, and my wife, my now wife, Christy, we moved in together on 3rd Street. So we rented there for a couple years. And the reason really why we came here, I'll never forget when I moved here, I felt so safe. I felt very comfortable here, and I appreciated the people that were here. Like even our safety team, our police is wonderful. They're wonderful. I know this, but I felt the community equally looked out for everyone as soon as we moved in, and I felt really, really welcome there. And my son, when he went to go, him and my stepson went to go ride bikes one day, and he looks at me and he says, "Dad," he goes, "where can I ride my bike?" Because he was a little nervous because there were certain places he couldn't ride his bike in the other neighborhood for whatever reason, safety reasons and whatnot. And I looked at him, I said, "I feel very comfortable that you can ride your bike anywhere, cross at the crosswalks and stay off the railroad tracks." And it was just such a good feeling to know that I could allow him to ride his bike down the street and I didn't have to worry about him as much. I mean, don't get me wrong, I kept an eye on him, but it was just that really kind of welcoming and safe feeling. And really, that's one of the main reasons I stayed here. It was just a wonderful, beautiful community to be in.
Perrysburg, I would say, is safe and welcoming. I second your comments there. Anything else to add to what brought you to Perrysburg?
Well, I grew up in the area. I lived in Rossford for quite a while, and I went to All Saints Catholic school growing up. And Perrysburg was always a community that I felt was equally respected and looked up to, and it was kind of a place for me that when I was younger, I didn't think I would ever be able to afford to move to a place like Perrysburg. And it was kind of when I had the opportunity to, I felt really good about myself, not for financial or social status reasons, but just that I felt like I had accomplished something. It was kind of like a turning point in my life to kind of move forward and kind of put some old stuff behind me.
Yeah, sometimes changing the scenery, it brings you out of anything that may have had you stuck in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the scenery here is marvelous. I was down by the river last night, and it was absolutely, as the sun was going down, there were seagulls on the water and other waterfowl, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. So the scenery is very spectacular.
Yeah. Which park were you at when you saw that?
I was near the boat docks. So,
Okay.
yeah, we were down there near Hood Park. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that one too. Great view down there. I like the swings down there too.
Yeah.
By the river.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
Nice. I feel like we've already talked a little bit about why you like living here, but is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Why you like living here?
Gosh, the list for me is endless. I feel sometimes, I mentioned the parks. Parks are absolutely wonderful. I feel like the community is very supportive of each other. Like when we engage in something, I feel like everyone wants to have this beautiful, wonderful community. People appreciate the services that I think the city provides. And I just really like that. I love the interaction with our residents. I think that's vital. And I say that also being an elected official, but even without that, I always enjoyed that. I love the people that I ran into. I look back to when I was, running the first time, and I knocked on so many doors and I talked to so many people, and there were so many people that were here for less than 5 years. There were so many new people here, as well as people that were generational that have been here for a while. And I was just really fascinated by that because people were coming here for particular reasons, very similar to the reasons why I came here. So it was just, I felt like there was something special about that.
Yeah, what you're talking about is community.
Yeah.
There's people that really intentionally moved here and want to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like-minded people.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking about why you like living here. At this time, I'd like to ask you why you're running for council again.
Again, yeah, I just really enjoy service. I feel like most of my life has been based around that. I was kind of grew up volunteering. My dad was always involved in the church and doing church festivals, and we'd always volunteer. And I was going to him. We would make pierogies in the church basement with the Polish ladies, and I would go down there, and I can remember doing that. It was for me, it was service. I was having a little bit of fun, but if they ever, when they went to boil them and any of them ever blew open, they always blamed the kids. But I'm not sure if it was always me, but I'll be that. I was the scapegoat for that one, which is okay. But my whole life really revolved around service. I was in scouting, and even now in my day job, it's just a mode of service and serving other people, and I take joy in that. It's one of those things that, you mentioned community. And I think when you look at like service and the ways, at least the way that I approach service is, there's something about listening to our community members and listening to other people's perspectives and really formulating like some of the decisions that you make through those interactions. And there's something that's just not, it's something that we don't have that's like tangible. I think that it's what I would call it, like maybe the essence or the spirit of what Perrysburg is, So I think through that model of like service, it really helps me kind of understand a little bit better and hopefully makes me a better advocate for our residents, our community members, and the people that do business here as well. I really feel like that's extremely important. So that model of service is really kind of one of the reasons, it's taken me 4 years to really, I thought I knew it before, but being on council, I had a new appreciation and a new respect for the different lifestyles, the different opinions about the way our city should be structured. And really, while I have my own Kevin Fuller ideas that I think are super cool, those are my ideas. I don't try to project that into my decision making. It's really that sort of like essence of like what Perrysburg is, and it's taken me that 4 years, I think, to really kind of grasp that, and then hopefully be able to move forward with what I've learned on that, with all the experience I've as well served on council with. To continue to do that and hopefully see some of these things that I've helped put in motion just really kind of come to fruition.
I hear a lot of continuity. Like you want continuity. You want to come from a place of service. You want to help the community. You want to continue to have the community that brought you here, that you enjoy.
Yes.
And yeah, you bring continuity though too. I like what you said last. You hope to see some of the things that you've already been involved with in council come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can be really exciting.
Yeah.
Now, whenever somebody puts themselves out there and runs for a public office, I sometimes wonder, is there anything in it for them? What's in it for you?
I don't know. I guess it's selfish to kind of take joy in that service model. And I guess there's the reward that I get is the thought that I'm actually helping other people and helping our community. And then hopefully somebody, down the line, I don't need the recognition. I don't need someone to say, hey, Kevin did this. But what I really want is to create an environment for a generational environment that my kids can live here and know that the decisions that were made before them, whoever that person was, that they made good decisions for whether it's our services, our growth, whatever the city appreciates, that we did it right then. So there aren't issues, I want to say, down the line for our future generations.
Sounds like you feel a personal responsibility to help the city move forward and make progress. Is that correct? Am I reading
Certainly.
you right?
Yeah, that's, and And I think that goes back to kind of some of the things that I mentioned, of that kind of understanding of what that is, because the community has, since even in the past 4 years, has changed, and it's always changing. And the needs of the residents and the people that live here are, people always talk about growth, and that is definitely happening, So as that happens, I think just being like conscious of it and really kind of honing in on, I want to say, the nature of how things are changing, even when it comes to business and commerce and things like that, that we're constantly improving or adapting as we continue to move forward so that we can maintain that environment as the culture of the city continues to. We have a wonderful foundation. I think that will maintain the core principles that everyone kind of came here for. I don't think that'll ever change. But the world around us is changing, so you have to be attuned to it.
Thank you for talking about kind of how you feel called to to continue making this the great community that it is.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Kevin, I know you've been on council before, and if you get onto council again, what do you hope people say about you 12 months after you're elected?
Well, that's kind of a tough question because I don't always expect someone to say something about me. But if they did, I think it would be that Kevin, like we were able to work with Kevin. Maybe if we were to disagree, that we could walk away at the end of the day and still have that respect for each other, and that we, like anyone there, did the Kevin thought what he did was best, and hopefully respected for that.
I think it takes guts to disagree with people, but to listen to them and have a conversation anyway.
Yes, 100%.
The world needs more people just listening to one another. I call it having a dialogue.
Yes. Yeah. That's extremely important.
Thank you for being willing to have a dialogue.
Yes.
The world needs more of that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure. As we start to wrap this up, I was going to ask for any advice for the other candidates who are running for council. Could you maybe spend 30 seconds? I know it's pretty quick, but we're running out of time.
Yeah, sure. I would just encourage everyone to really pay attention to kind of what's been going on at council, learn the processes, maybe look at Robert's Rules of Order, how our parliamentary rules are structured for council, and really start to maybe think about like what committees they might want to be on, and things like that, where they might be more beneficial in certain areas, or they could use the skills that they have in their day jobs to help benefit their role in council and council as a whole.
That's good advice. Well, as we start to wrap this up, I'd like to give you just a half a minute here to talk about where can people find out more about you and your campaign?
Right now, I would say check out Facebook. I've got Kevin Fuller, Perrysburg City Council President. I've got some information up there. And if people really do want to reach out to me, I do appreciate the one-on-ones or, again, dialogue, like we said. Friends of Fuller21@gmail.com is a good email address to reach out to me at. And if it's city related, feel free to reach out to my city email as well. I always enjoy hearing from our residents.
Thank you for the invitation to engage. I think there are some people out there that would like to reach out to you and have a conversation with you. So good idea to give them your email address. Is there anything else you'd like to share as we end our time together?
No, I just hope everybody, I know how toiling sometimes these campaigns are, especially for the new candidates. And don't get me wrong, this is not easy for me. I'm serving on council, but my hat's off to everyone who wants to serve their community. Stay strong, make it to November 4th, and we'll let the people decide.
I will be voting November 4th. Thank you very much for being on the Perrysburg podcast, Kevin. Good luck to you in your campaign.
Thank you again, Kim. Appreciate it.
Thanks again for the interview, Kevin. Now you've heard from all 4 Perrysburg City Council candidates. We heard from Erin O'Rear first, then Justin Edgell. Brad Geiner was third, and Kevin Fuller was the 4th and final interview. I hope this episode has helped you feel like a more informed voter for the November 4th, 2025 election. And if you're not a Perrysburg resident yet, city or township, I hope that hearing what brought these 4 people to Perrysburg, why they like living here, and why they want to give back to the community has been helpful to you. Perrysburg's a great town, and I feel like we have great people here in this town. For all of you registered voters listening, Please vote on November 4th. Your vote counts. I have my list ready. I know who I'm voting for, and I plan to vote at my polling place in the morning. I recommend that you have a voting plan as well. Know when and where you're going to vote. And if you don't know who you're going to vote for yet, there's still time to go to vote411.org, learn about the candidates and the tax levies, and then make yourself a list of who you're voting for so you can vote with confidence on November 4th. Thank you for listening to episode 117 of the Perrysburg Podcast. Please visit perrysburgpodcast.com to read the show notes. In the show notes, you'll find the contact information and websites for all 4 candidates, my list of voter resources from last week's episode, which was episode 116, my email address, and more. Lots of links on perrysburgpodcast.com. Just look for episode 117. If you know someone who would like this episode, please share it with them. And if you would like to be notified by email each time a new episode of the Perrysburg Podcast comes out, sign up for the newsletter on perrysburgpodcast.com. You can also subscribe to or follow this show on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. Thank you very much for listening today. Get out there and vote on November 4th, and I'll talk to you next week. We'll be talking about pharmacies.